Come on, let's shag ass.
So I wanted to make a video series showing you guys this new grow room I'm building. The last one had its roof blow out in the middle of a storm, and it was really fucked. It was late flower. So we had to tear it down, get rid of it. It was an old Tuff Shed, just like this one is here now. You can see an old Tuff Shed here. So I had to demo it, take the whole carcass of it to the dump. I'll be posting up some pictures. You'll kind of see those off to the side here. Once it was demoed and torn away, then I had to grade the ground that it used to be on, because the footprint for this one's a lot bigger. It's much larger. And instead of just getting something around the same size, I could have saved some money. I decided to go with something much bigger with a barn style roof, a lot of vertical space to it. So that way I have room to grow, and I can switch over to HID lighting, which I didn't have the ability to do with the old room, because it had like a 6.5 foot ceiling, so there was just no way I was ever going to grow HID in there. So this gives me a lot of room to grow. My reason for making the video for you guys is to hopefully help some people out if you ever do anything like this, if you want to upgrade from tent growing to room growing. A lot of this stuff will be applicable if you build a room in your house or your garage or anything else. I'm not an expert. A lot of this stuff this is like my first time doing the stuff that you'll see in here. The only thing I really have any experience with is painting. So I've been a painter for like 30 years. So yeah, so we're going to cover everything, show you guys, and hopefully you enjoy it. Alright, so one of the first things that I had to do was actually paint the new shed. It came primered and had to paint it. You can see there was this vent up there. That vent sucked. They had like a 2x4 beam going right through the middle of it, and there was no way we were going to make that work with the drywall and everything else. So I just sealed it off on the outside. This vent here is the new cold air intake. Obviously we've got a little light here on the outside. I had to run electricity into the new shed, and I paid a little extra money to get the one that has the metal foundation, because you can see here we're just straight ground contact, and even with pressure treated or kind of waterproofed wood or whatever, after a while that's going to rot. I want this thing to last 20 years hopefully, if I can do that. So the light here on the outside, I've got a little switch here. Turns this on, turns this off. This helps me when I'm coming in here to do anything in the grow room at night. By having the switch not on the inside, I can turn this off and on at any time, and also check and see if the power's still on the room. You know, say we get a power outage or something happens. I have a security camera in there. I have sensors and stuff in there when I'm going to be growing. But this is a quick, easy check. If I go and look and my camera's not on, but my sensors seem to be working, and I'm not really positive if I've lost power in there, because this is the end of the circuit. When I turn this on and I see that there's power, I know I've got power to every other outlet inside there, and I don't have to worry about anything. If my camera goes down, it just means the camera's down. So we'll show you inside. Got my little towel here to keep everything clean. Now the floor is an epoxy floor, and I did what's called a high build here. So what high build means is just multiple layers. There's a primer coat, a mid coat, a water-based top coat on top of that, and then 2 layers of a product called TC92. The company that I used is Spartan Epoxies. I would not recommend them. I had some pretty bad customer service from them, and their products, if you kind of look at this floor, you kind of see in this area here and right there, you can see like some roller marks. And the only reason that you can see those roller marks is because it didn't really fucking cover. And to have that many coats going on with as much pigment was in it, and it not covering and being like a nice solid white color like the walls are here, that's just absolute bullshit to me. There were other companies I could have used. Spartan Epoxies made this product that's specifically for grow room floors for cannabis growers. So I was kind of giving them a shot, but it did not fucking work out. Okay, so we got epoxy floor, and on the walls I've got enamel gloss paint. Now I know a lot of people are gonna kind of resort to some old forum arguments and be like, gloss is really bad, it causes hot spots, but relax, my plants are not gonna be that close to the wall. And the way that my par map is, when I've got these lights in here, it dims down to about 500. If I'm rocking 800, 900 UMO in the middle, Towards the edges, it's gonna be like 500 U-mols. So any reflection or hot spots I'm getting off the walls to increase those U-mols on the edges of the plants is only gonna be a good thing. And it's not gonna be where I've got 850 in the middle and 1200 on the outside because of gloss walls. So the oil-based enamel using gloss, a big reason why I did that is because it's extremely durable. It's a really hard paint and it washes off really easy. So if I am spraying IPM in here and constantly getting chemicals and stuff on the walls, I can just wipe them off and everything's gonna be fine. Same thing with the floor. The TC92 is an anti-chemical. It's meant to be put in places like labs and grow rooms where chemicals are getting all over the floor and stuff. So I should never have any issues with any of the chemicals I use in here, any runoff from my plant irrigation, anything like that, eating away and tearing away at the walls. If I had used latex paints, which is water-based, I would have had problems over years with moisture building up, the walls bubbling, the paint peeling off. With an oil-based enamel, that's not gonna happen at all. So I'll show you guys some pictures of what I had to do to get this to this point, and we'll kind of cover that here next. Okay, so when the grow room was initially installed, I'll show you a picture to kind of replace this back wall here right now. So I had to first install all of the electricity, kind of pre-run the wires, and then do spray insulation over the whole room. I did the ceiling, everything. It was my first time using spray insulation. I'm not familiar with the product. I think it came out okay. At least as far as right now, the insulation in here is pretty good. It's right where I want it. If I had wanted to do it better, or if I had just chosen to spend a little more time and money and do that better, I wouldn't have just done the spray insulation. I would have also put kind of thinner traditional insulation pieces, the fiberglass stuff, on top of that spray insulation. With the combination of the spray insulation and regular insulated batting, I probably would have had an R12 or higher rating as far as insulation goes, which is pretty high. You know, R15, R16, probably somewhere in that area is what I would have ended up with. But I opted not to spend the extra time and money to do that because I had so much fucking work in here, and I gave myself an internal schedule of 30 days to finish it. So in any event, I ran the electricity. It comes in from the wall right here you saw on the outside. It runs up here to this guy, and all of the outlets are tamper resistant. So they have these little, you can kind of see there's like white in there. It means you can't stick anything in here and get a circuit. You have to actually enter a plug for those to open up and have anything live happen. And what that helps with is any overspray while there's nothing in here, there's not gonna be any liquid gets in there that will corrode those contacts and cause issues where I'm gonna have to replace this outlet down the road. You see this outlet here and this little fucking, I should have fixed that before I painted it. These two outlets don't have weatherproof covering, but all of the other ones do. So I have to open these up and plug in, and then the cords can run out through this little notch here. And these 4 plugs have them on it because these are going to be basically where the grow room is here in the middle. And if I'm spraying for IPM and stuff, I want to make sure that there isn't, you know, constantly water and moisture getting into those outlets in any way, causing corrosion on my light plugs or anything like that. So it's a really important thing to do. Now, I ran the electricity, like I was saying. It comes in and it goes around all like this. It ends here at this outlet. It actually goes up on the wall to that light, and that's the end of the circuit in this room. So that's why I was showing on the outside. By flipping that light switch, I can tell that I have full power to this room. So that's one of the little tricks that I used. The other thing is, as soon as the drywall got put on, so I did the spray insulation, ran the electricity, kind of pre-run it, not hooking up the outlets yet. And as soon as I got the drywall up, I went and put on a water proofing membrane. And the product I use is called RedGuard, but there's a bunch of different products out there. And what that did was, by putting it, you know, on everything here and then down on the floor, I extended out around the drain here, came out, so that if any water was to get under the epoxy floor or behind all that sealed baseboard molding there, there's a waterproof membrane underneath the paint, underneath the epoxy floor, where water can't get any further into the wood or anything like that.
I didn't really need to necessarily go all the way up on the ceilings and everything like that, but it was an extra step that I wanted to do to make sure this room lasted as long as possible. What it means is if I get a leak in the ceiling or something like that, more than likely, I'm not even gonna notice it for a while because the drywall is actually gonna have to start falling apart because of the waterproofing membrane. But from this end, from the inside, I should never have any issues with water damage. In fact, I can probably fill this room up with water because the outlets are up high. I don't have any issues with those. They're not in any flood zones. I don't even have any cabling running except for right here where it comes in from the wall. And all of that right there is a little receptacle that is waterproof. It's completely sealed. So you only have bare wires in their plastic wrappings. So I could literally fill this up with probably water to right here in this room and wouldn't have any issues. But since I put a drain in, even if I get a flood from my irrigation or my reservoir, the whole shed has got a slight grade all leading into this corner. And it's about a 12 by 10 feet shed here. For every foot, you want a 1/4 inch drop for water to kind of travel. And so when this was installed, I made sure that this corner had about a 3-inch drop total. And it ended up coming out to about 2.5 inches. So it's close enough for me. I can squeegee the water if there's anything kind of in this area. I can squeegee it all to this little drain hole here. And the drain goes down through like a 2-inch pipe into a smaller pipe that runs way out down the property here so that I don't have any water erosion happening underneath this corner of the shed. And that's really important. You wouldn't want to just dump the water right there because even with a complete ground flat contact, you're going to eventually have that soil start to settle down lower, and your drop in this corner is going to be lower and lower and lower over time. You know, every maybe 2 to 5 years, you're going to drop another inch there because the soil is just going to keep getting wet and keep dropping lower and lower. So you always want to make sure you run your irrigation out and away. Okay, so we did the spray installation, we pre-ran the electrical, did a waterproofing membrane over everything, and then primer coats on top of that on all the walls, and then a finish enamel oil-based gloss, not a high gloss because I really don't need it being that crazy in here. But I picked gloss because 1, it's a nice look, 2, it's extremely durable and easy to clean off, far more so than even semi-gloss. And it does have more reflective properties, and like I mentioned, since my tables and plants are never going to be right up against the wall or even within a foot, they're going to always be about 24 inches at least away from the walls. Any kind of glare or reflections I get off them is actually going to be a benefit. It's going to help. So once all of the paint was on, then I had to start doing the epoxy floor, and like I mentioned, it was a primer coat, mid coat, top coat, 3 of them actually. And I kept adding another top coat because I wanted to get full coverage, and you can kind of see in this area with this lighting here, it's like sketchy. It's not like a pure white look like you're getting from the walls. By the way, this light here is just temporary so we can see, because if I turn it off, it's fucking pitch black in this room. All right, so let's cover the next parts and some of the things for install. This is all I'm covering in these videos here is kind of the construction thing so far, as you've gathered. But we'll cover some other stuff soon, and then I'm gonna make separate videos one by one for each piece of equipment that I install in here, and to kind of show you why I'm doing things the way I'm doing them.